Welcome back to Wealthy Mentor Trading, guys. Today is June the 20th, 2021. Today I'm going to be looking at SPX, the S&P 500, some targets to the upside and to the downside. We did have a bit of a weak week, I should say, dropping down to levels right here at that 4170 mark. I'm going to look at targets to the upside and to the downside. But before we get started, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and leave a comment below if you want any names reviewed going into next week. Also, if you're interested, check out thewealthymentor.net and look at our Discord group that we have to offer. We do offer swing trading, day trading, analyst upgrades, along with market analysis, Benzinga Squawk, and a whole array of services that you would find beneficial, whether you're a novice trader or an intermediate or a professional, I should say. But before we get going now, I would like to head over to our watch list names where I'm going to be discussing AMC, the continued short squeeze play that I'm going to be looking at, Dash, approaching key resistance at that 175 zone, ZI, which is approaching that $54 resistance. That is one of the names that is on our swing trading names, along with Nvda, which had a great push last week, and further analyst upgrades pushing the stock to over $800 target. I'm going to be looking at that. I'm also going to be looking at Facebook, which is consolidating around that $330 area. Also going to be looking at pins and Riot for some targets to the upside, as we do have some strong bullish movements on those stocks as well. Okay, but before we get started on that, we do have SPX here. And as you guys can see here, we did have an all-time highs at that 4250 mark, and we did push lower last week based on some economic indicators, and the Fed meeting and the minutes and the outlook did have buyers spooked. And to be honest with you, we were consolidating, trending sideways for a good amount of weeks around that 4220, 4230 area. We did finally see some volatility come in last week, which was a welcome sign, dropping down to that 4170 mark. Going into tomorrow, I am looking at 4180 as my first confirmation and entry point for a push over to that 4200 psychological resistance. 4210 and 4220 are next targets, and we do have strong resistance here at that 4230 mark, which we did have a hard time breaking here on the 4-hour candle. These two 4-hour wicks right here, both showing buyer rejection, ultimately pushing us lower to that 4170 mark. Now, if we open on weakness tomorrow, I am looking at key support at 4150, and I am looking for that to hold, as we did have some support here back on the May the 17th, 2021. So 4150 is a key area for me. If that does get purged and we go lower, I'm looking at 4130 and 4112 as my take profit number 1 and take profit number 2, shorting to the downside. We do have strong support as well here at 4070. If the selling does accelerate, we do have 1 bounce here and 2 bounce here. Although the more times you test a support zone, the weaker it gets, and chances are we fall beneath that to that 4050 mark. I'm not thinking that we're going to go that far. However, these are key areas of support, so watch out for that to receive a sizable bounce if we do hit those area. If we don't hit that area, of course, we have that 4050 and 4030 mark. Okay. Overall, I am still bullish on the market. However, I would like to see the market above that $4,200 range for me to still continue to believe that we are in a bullish stance. We did close Friday's session on weakness. So going into tomorrow, if we do stay above that 4,200 mark, it will lead me to think that we are going higher. Okay. So that is my view on SPX going into next week. Heading into our watch list names, as I mentioned earlier, the first name that I want to look at is AMC. Still a strong buzz on this name with regards to short squeeze. And we did move higher this week, and it is still pretty bullish in my eyes. As you guys can see here, we are developing a huge bull flag. We also have a potential breakout above that $65 mark. So going into tomorrow, I would like to see $62 break. And above that, I have 65, which would be my first take profit zone. Above 65, all hell could break loose. This thing can really push. However, I do have targets at 73 and 77 to the $80 mark, which is all-time highs. $65 did have a hard time breaking. As you guys can see here, back on June the 15th, we got rejected, big candlestick, pushing the stock back down to that $57 support. And a few times here where we couldn't make it all the way to 65. But over here, we did almost attempt to break it. Again, same story, got rejected, and we find ourselves at that 57.50 area for key support. Heading into tomorrow, if we do see weakness, I do look at that 57.50 mark to hold. If that were to break, I have short positions going down to that $50 mark, whereas my take profit number one. And if that does break and we do see continued weakness, I am looking at the support zones at 45 to 42, where we did see some consolidation here before ultimately breaking higher. My overall thought on AMC, I am still looking at that short squeeze. You know, you go with the flow, you go with the direction of the stock, and at this moment, direction is heading higher. Consolidating near the highs is a healthy sign, guys. So don't get discouraged by these 1 or 2% pullbacks. That's completely natural. I would say as long as we hold above the $50 mark, we are still bullish. Okay, so that is my thoughts and feelings on AMC heading into next week. Another name that I want to speak about is Dash, which is one of our IPO growth stock swing trading names. Now, the reason why I want to bring Dash to your attention is because we've had a sizable bounce at that 110 mark, pushing all the way to that 175 mark, which is strong resistance right here. As you guys can see, we could not break it right here on February the 26th. And over here, which was the breakout zone, on January the 12th, 2021. So these two areas right here, it's significant for me because we are testing it once more. So heading into tomorrow, above that 175 zone, if we do break that, would head us over to that 182.5, 183 mark, which would be my take profit number one. Above that, we do have strong resistance at that 189, 190 mark, where we did consolidate here after that breakout zone back in January. So I am looking at these two areas to get hit if we do finally purge that 175 mark, which right now is strong resistance. Now, to the downside, we do have 167.5 and 162 as support zones. I would look for 167 as my first confirmation, not my entry, for that to break. And my entry to the short side would be a break of 162 for retests at 154.5 and that 147 mark. My overall view on Dash, it looks pretty bullish to me. We've had a sizable bounce. It all depends on that $175 mark, guys. So keep that in mind heading into next week on Dash. The next name I wanted to look at is ZI, another name that's part of our growth stock IPO watch list. And similar to Dash, we do have strong resistance here at that $50 mark. And as you guys can see here on Friday, we did purge past that. And above that, we do have 54. So 54 is the next major hurdle. We've got rejected a few times here back in April and back in May, right? And we do have strong support here, which is now resistance. So heading into tomorrow, 54 is a key level for me. If 54 were to break, I'm looking at retest that 57.5, where we did have a rejection here. And guys, these targets, you don't have to wait for target number 1 and 2 to get hit consecutively. If you see 57.5 struggle, which we did have some consolidation here before pushing down, take profits. Take profits, guys, because you can always re-enter on the break of 57.5 based on volume, based on a catalyst, wherever it may be, but always lock in those profits. So tomorrow, if it does break that 54 mark, 57.5 is your take profit number 1, and 60.5 would be your take profit number 2, and which is also all-time highs. And we do have a few rejections here. So if the stock does purge past 57, take profit at that 60 and apply the same rules as you would do when you're taking profits and re-entering. To the downside, if we cannot make 54 and we do trend sideways and head lower, $50 is your support zone. Beneath that, I'm looking at shorts to that $47 mark, where we do have a lot of price action here back on April. So if 50 were to break, 47 would be a nice consolidation zone and a take profit. If we do see further weakness, 44.5 would be another take profit area. And obviously, if we do see continued weakness through the markets, look for 41.5 to be your third take profit area. Okay, keep this name in mind, guys. We are very close to all-time highs. 54 is a key area for me. Next name I want to speak about, Nvda, Nvidia. Nvidia has been nothing but bullish, and it continued last week, hitting all-time highs at that 775 mark, exceeding all my take profit targets from last week at 750 here. So going into next week, we do have support. Sorry, I should say we do have resistance at that let's just say here, at that $557 area. We also have resistance at that 766 area, and we also have resistance at all-time highs at that 775 area. Okay, so going into tomorrow, I am looking at a break above 750 for retests at 757, 756. If that were to break, you can almost pretty much guarantee a retest of 766 and 77 of all-time highs. Overall, the stock is really bullish. However, anything can happen. So if we do see weakness heading into tomorrow, a key area for me is that 720 area where we do have price consolidation. But before that were to happen, 740 would be my first indicator, my first confirmation. If that were to break, I am looking at shorts to that 730 mark, which would be my take profit number one. And my second take profit would be 720, which, as I mentioned, is a strong support zone, which was previous resistance. So that is my views on Nvidia. It's approaching that stock split. In the past, stock splits were more of a bearish sign. However, names like Tesla and now Nvidia and Apple have all pushed during their stock split season. So this name has no different, and I'm continuing looking at higher highs. 775 is a great number. However, we do have analyst upgrades pushing the stock past that 800 and 850 mark. So if we do break all-time highs at that 775 mark, I should say, I do have take profits at 790, right? And 800. So if we're really bullish and we do see a sizable bounce and retest these areas at 775, 790, and 800 would be my take profit zones to the upside. Overall, I am very bullish on Nvidia, and I will continue to look at this name and keep this name in mind heading into tomorrow. Also look for other semiconductor names to follow through with it, such as AMD. Okay, another name that I want to take a look at that has had some significant price action and has held its own, and that would be Facebook. Facebook has held that $330 mark. As you guys can see here, we did have a bounce right here on June the 9th. Once more here on the 11th, held its own here on the 16th, and on Friday, we ended up closing Friday's session at that 330 support zone. Heading into tomorrow, I am looking to see if 330 holds. If it does, I am looking at a push to 333, which we did have multiple rejections here at that area. So if you are someone that's entering right at the open, look for 333 to take profit. If we do purge past that, again, similar resistance at that 336 area where we do have a bunch of price consolidation here and a lot of fake outs. So if we do see a nice push into the market open, look for those two areas to get hit and close your positions. If we do see continued price action and strong movement and volume, 340 would be my next area to take profit. Now, if market opens on weakness, and as you guys can see, SPX did close on weakness on Friday, and if we open futures up in a few hours from now, definitely look for a break below that 330 area in the morning and 324 as your take profit number one. And your take profit number two would be that 320 area, which we did see a strong bounce right here back on May the 24th, which catapulted us over that 324 area, which we are now above that and holding that 330 zone. So 330 were to break, 324 would be your profit number one, 320 and a half would be your profit number two. Obviously, if we do see continued weakness, 315, where we do have some price action here before it broke out. Okay, so that is Facebook, and I'm currently still bullish on Facebook. I love this consolidation here at 330, meaning buyers don't want to let this stock drop further. So meaning buyers are in control until further shown. And I am looking at those tests, all-time highs next week. So keep that name in mind. Another name that did receive a nice push last week was Pinterest. PINS is the ticker. And just look at the stock here, guys. $54, pushing all the way to that $72, $73 area. Heading into next week, we do have strong resistance here at that $76 mark. Why? Is because we got rejected here once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and 5 times. We couldn't break this area. Okay. And it also is strong resistance because, well, it is strong resistance because we couldn't break it, but it was also strong support at one time where we dropped down here and bounced back. So this area is key for me. 76 on the break of that, I am looking at that $80 to $82 area for my take profit number one. And if we do see strong volume, definitely look for above 82 to break to take profit at that 87.5 area where we did see a huge rejection here on the 4-hour time frame, pushing us back down. So guys, take those profits on the break of 76 at that $80 to $82 area, and your next would be that $87 area. And as you guys can see here, $90 is all-time highs. So keep this stock in mind. 76 is a big area for me. Now to the downside, and we get say we hit 76 and get rejected, similar to areas like right here and here and here. Look for a break below 72.5 for shorts to take profit at 68.50 and 66.40 as your two take profit areas. Obviously, we do have strong support here at that 54.5. If we do see strong push down and a market sell-off, potential 54.5 would be another strong support. Okay, pins is a nice one, so watch over that 76 area. Another name that did receive a pretty big bounce due to the strength of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency related names was Riot, RIOT. Another name, which is one of our swing trading names. Riot did push pretty high, basically catapulting past that $30 mark, which we did have a strong time staying underneath and around before finally we did have a gap up here on June the 14th. Strong candle buying pressure here, getting rejected at that $38 mark before closing Friday's session. Pretty bearish at that 31.5 area. Heading into next week, I am looking at retests at that $38 area. However, my entry point would be 35.5 for take profit at 38. And if we do break finally 38, we have $40.50 where we do have some price action here back on May the 3rd. Keep in mind, guys, that this name does tend to move with Bitcoin. So if you see Bitcoin above $40,000, you pretty much almost guarantee that $38 will be tested once more. Now, if we do see continued weakness into Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency names, look for Riot at 31.50. If that were to break, 29.5 would be your take profit number one. And if we see continued weakness with Bitcoin, let's just say it goes down to $30,000, look for Riot to retest 24.5, 25.5. Okay. Overall, on Riot, I'm neutral. I would like to see the key levels of 38 break before my entry. However, as a trader, you're going to play the little small swings, and 35.5 would be your entry area heading into tomorrow. All right, guys, those are the key names I wanted to discuss. So to recap, AMC, I'm still looking above that $62 area for confirmation, but 65 is key resistance, guys. Above that, this thing will fly. Keep that in mind heading into tomorrow and next week. Dash approaching that 175 area where we need to see that break for it to test potential highs. ZI, again, approaching that $54 resistance. I am looking at a break to 58 and to retest all-time highs at that $60 mark. Nvda, still continuing with this price action to the upside. Received a bunch of analyst upgrades above the $800 mark, so continue looking above 775 for entries on Nvidia. Facebook consolidating around that 330 area. Look for retests at 333, 336, and all-time highs is in sight at 340. Pins, strong resistance, as I mentioned, at that $76 area, multiple touch points in the past. We need to get past that. Above that, the stock could really run. And Riot, as I just mentioned, 38 was rejected on the big 4-hour candlestick, likes to move Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Look for strength in Bitcoin for entries above that 35.5 to retest 38 in the $40 area. All right, guys, thank you so much. And if you are interested in joining our Discord trading group, head over to thewealthymentor.net and get yourself started. Huge service over there. Wonderful watch list names. Whether you're a swing trader or a day trader, it's beneficial to you. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. I like to get it out there. I like to see if other people are interested. And if you are interested in any stocks that you want reviewed next week, just leave a comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Give this video a thumbs up and thanks for tuning in. Good luck trading, guys. See you guys next week. Bye.